Good evening. Today, let me start and discuss on the third module of how to add JavaScript in a DWEBAPP. Doing simple calculations or any kind of logical on-screen calculations is pretty much easy and does not require any hard-coded coding. A basic drag and drop, basic functionality to do certain points or certain setups will sort you out this particular problem. With this, you've been able to create a lot more with the web app because you can create any kind of pause screen, any kind of invoice entries, challan entries, or any kind of those screens where you need many calculation to be done on the screen itself. Because this helps the user to understand that they are doing a right entry or not, or the total calculation is coming out. Basically, they want to also avoid calculator when they're doing the entries over there, and they also re-cross check and validate a lot of things over there. So this particular thing is very commonly required by many customers, and hence we have a feature to do this on the software itself. Let's see how do we do that. So this is our employee master that we are already doing, and many of you who have seen my last two videos are aware of. This is a continuation of the third part, and here I'll be taking an example of an employee pay structure where there are always two components. One is earning and one is deduction. The earning part adds and the deduction part deducts, and that makes the net pay. So let's do that particular part in this module and show you how we have implemented this particular feature in our DCPL app. So this is the module, as you can see, and if I come here, I'm just adding one section called earnings. I'll order it one and put it multiple line, notive design, and plus. Similarly, I'll add another section called deduction, and this will be third. Actually, I numbered the last one in a wrong sequence because there's already one section, so I need to rename the first one. Right, done. And let me add two different fields. One is particular and another is amount. Well, since this is amount, then I'll take the numeric field, and since this is the particular field where we have to put some calculations, we need to sum or do something of it, so we have to specifically give IDs for such fields so that the system understands on this particular field we have to put some logic. So there is a column called IDs which is there for adding JavaScripts or CSS within the panel. So we can name it anything, but this has to be unique across the screen. So here I can name it as earning amount, and it is recommended to avoid any space in this particular name. And let's add the same amount field in deduction also. Since the form was already too much filled, so I didn't do anything else and I just submitted it. And I'm adding the first field called particular, and I'll change the CSS. I'll add one. This will be a text, and then that will be 255, and I added it. So all my four fields are added. Now I will just show you the screen once before I do go there. Here, so now I can add multiple earnings and multiple deductions. And before starting the video, I've already added a total earning, total deduction, and net pay to show the total calculation on those fields. So let's now do the calculation part. How do we add or subtract such things? So we have a field called, we have a option beside the configurator as JavaScript. What we have to do, we have to go there, we have to add another JavaScript, which is earning addition. I can name it anything. This is just an identifier for me to understand when I add like 10-15 JavaScript on a screen. Later, to understand what code, what configurator, I have put a JavaScript name, which is basically an identifier for the developers to understand what has been done in this particular configuration. So here I'm very simplifying. I'm selecting the earning section and the field is amount because I have only one ID field, so that is showing here, and it is a multiple row section, so it is yes. Function will be sum, and the output will go to basic details total earning, and this is done. So one JavaScript at a time. So for doing the next one, I have to again add earning and total, right? And this will be from deduction, amount, multiple row yes, sum, deduction, and it will be amount. So it will not be deduction, this will be basic details, total deduction. This is done. Now the third one is this net pay calculation. Here I'll take two fields from the basic detail itself. One is total earning and another one will be total ratio. Now you see, this is a calculation field based on two previously calculated fields. So this will also work in our case. It is not a multiple row sections, it will be no. And I'll do subtraction, right? And as soon as I do subtraction, I'll select basic details and I'll add net pay. So once I do this, if I submit, my entire configuration is done within 2 minutes. Now let's see what is the result. I went here, I have a say suppose employee code 04, I'll add a push, one number, joining date, done, and then I'll give a PAN number, and it is working. This is too short, so let's like this. Okay, now let's do earning. If I go in earning, I add the basic, I add another 2 DA, HRA. So let's make it 15,000. This is 5,000. This is 7,000. And then I add one deduction called P-tax, 150 rupees. See on the top, total earning 27,000, total deduction 150, and net pay 2,650. So this is auto calculated and no single coding required to be done. And once I save it, it saves. So everything done within 3 minutes. If I edit it, all the values are there and I can see. So it's a magic when you do with DWEBAPP, you do a lot of things in a very short time, which used to take hours to do previously. One short feature, if you want to see, say suppose anybody says that I also need that field in words. Very common thing, very common requirement. So what we have to do is we have to select it. We have to add a field called net pay in words, and I add it. I also make it 12 span to make it big. All of this I've already explained in my earlier videos, so you guys must already know it. Now to configure the in words thing, I just to do one particular setting last. That is, I have to click here and I have to select what kind of type is this field. So that will be amount in words, and post that it will ask me for on which field you want to get the words. So here I need to select net pay. Once I select and I submit it, it is done. So it is exactly another 30 seconds. So 3 minutes 30 seconds to complete this kind of module on DWEBAPP. So now if I go to employees and just edit it, it shows the value. See, so this is how we do it in DWEBAPP. And with DWEBAPP, you save a lot of your time, which is a task to be done by, maybe in one entire day or 2 entire days. You do it in minutes or hours. So you save a lot of time, and end of the day, you also do not need to test the product because all of this is already tested. Things are working for multiple clients. So there is no need of another QC to be done post you configure this. Your client gets a more satisfied product while on the implementation part because they are also headache free while in terms of implementing the application in the user end. They are not bothered about thinking uh, you know uh, is it properly configured or not, is properly working or not. Anything which you have drafted on your scope of document, just configure it and the things are ready, and client uses it exactly the way they wanted it to. That's for the day. We'll see you soon in the next video on Wednesday at 8:05.